Let me get this started.
I do. Okay. Martin's on here? Yeah, where's Martin?
I don't know.
Oh, here he comes.
Oh.
We have to watch him.
Well, thank you, Brian.
Yeah, I know you usually do, I don't. I didn't know
Well,
what it
I
was now.
forgot about that. You're right. Yes, that's they do that. I forgot about that. I didn't realize we were going along.
We're big town now.
Oh, yeah, we're big town right up there. We're like California.
Oh,
We're
forget
in
it.
drought. California's burning up. Half the southern part of the state is burned up. I ain't gonna say that. Good evening, Martin.
Howdy.
Okay, it's May 24th at 4:01 PM. I call this meeting to order, please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we've got the minutes for the first budget meeting, May 9th. You all reviewed. Are there any corrections or additions?
And then a couple of comments that we mentioned.
Martin, have you read them? Entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the May 10th, 2022 minutes.
Anybody second it?
I need to make
Oh, okay.
I need to rescind the motion I made for the first May 10th. Wrong date. Should be the May 9th budget meeting. We approved, I read the May 10th one twice. The first one should say no more.
Yeah.
So I need to make the motion to approve the budget meeting.
Okay, a second. Okay, all in favor?
Sorry about that.
Okay, now, May 10th. council meeting.
We approved it.
We did.
Yeah. We approved it twice.
Oh, I see. Tim,
That's me.
that would be you. Public Works.
Public Works. We've got all water meters found, except for maybe one, two at the most. So we did really well on that. And John's got his water out there. And we just finished up today hooking up Baker's sewer line. That was about 180 feet of pipe. Going down. And the Forest Service is up at McCall Creek. They just started cutting all the trees on the right-hand side to where the bank starts to slough off. They go 6 feet down the bank, and they're doing a wonderful job. They just started yesterday. It's looking good for snow plowing, so we've got room. And they're only gonna go 6 feet up the bank on the left side, all the way up. And the new agreement for us is we have to maintain the road all the way up to McCully Creek. And that only entails that we fill the potholes with 3-inch minus. We don't have to dress the whole road or anything, but we need to put 3-inch minus in the potholes in the roadway. And other than that, we've got all the fairgrounds, everything's on, all the electricals on. Your lights off, they better be.
Thanks.
And, then if the fairgrounds is ready, other than just a sweeping inside and counters need to be wiped off, that's it, as far as that goes.
So I'm gonna probably pick the gravel.
From the color, well, they did, I was saying about talking to you and seeing if we had any 3-inch minus that we could haul it up there ourselves, or I don't know, but we'll have to figure that out. And that new agreement with the Forest Service just did up here with them, so
Is that right?
it is.
Mhm.
And does it require us to roll it at all?
No, just they wanted us to take the backhoe, scratch around the potholes, break it up loose around there, and then put some 3-inch on the top of it, back, drag it with a bucket. Real simple.
And the trees are cutting all the trees within, where is it?
They're
6 feet?
leaving some of the bigger ones that are 20 inches or so that they're not taking all of the big ones, but they're spacing them out, so we've got room. And all the little ones, it's looking really good. And they're gonna cut off all the stumps and stuff for when we're plowing too, so we're not hitting stumps. Some of the old stumps that are, in there, so. And they're gonna pile all the brush, and they're gonna cover it with plastic, and it'll be up to us next year to burn it. They don't like burning done this year, but next year, early in the year, burn piles that they're making.
You've done a great job working. I'm well pleased.
It was John started it.
He's done a great job to make the town.
I mean, you don't want to. Well, we've all worked on it, and it's coming together really well. Other than we got to maintain the road, but we're the ones that use the road all the time. So,
Now, are you done with the grader?
done with the grader. Yes, I used it today up there to fix the road. But yeah,
I'll let you know.
okay,
I'll let you know when, and then you can just park it outside.
okay.
It'd be probably next week, I would say. And then, I see somehow some miraculous way that the brush pile got put on fire.
Yeah,
We want to see if we can, because John's requested not to burn.
Exactly.
Because of this weekend, we'll see if we can get the fire department to go up, and if you can cut it off to where so it doesn't start the whole thing.
Yeah.
We can put it out, and then I think what we need to do is take the 2 old graders and put them across the road to block that off.
Well,
I told that to Greg a long time ago, because we need to figure out a way to keep people out of there,
yeah, the one,
especially over this weekend, so we don't have this,
people putting, yeah.
they can be in the front. And then I also said at the last council meeting, which you weren't here, but we'll touch bases, I think I talked to you about it before, where we can break down the big pile that we have, because it's such a monster.
Yeah.
And then kind of get Kurt, he kind of agreed to start me, and then we can feed it instead of lighting the whole thing on fire.
Yeah.
Right now, I think right now what's burning is
Yeah,
the,
somebody came in there with a dump truck and several loads of needles.
yeah,
Dump trucks.
so that's what I'm saying there, so the needles is what And this time of the year, they don't burn, they smolder.
I think by,
Well, they run pretty good.
we'll see by tomorrow what the pile looks like out there. John said he didn't take his forks maybe, and, but I think it might slow down by tomorrow. Well,
the main thing is I just,
We just
we
don't-
did ask not to burn the pile this year like we did last year.
Yeah.
Where it just hangs out and smokes all out.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt a little bad when I seen that today. I'm going, who lit the pile on fire?
Nobody lit it. It was hot stuff, but mainly from dumping the stuff with the dump truck clear up on the pile. It was still hot, so.
Well, like I said, we'll see if we can get the fire department to go out and if we need to hose it off because tomorrow springs.
Well, we can have, I'm not here tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll get over here tomorrow.
Any other questions for him?
What they do on that snow, what do you call it? Where you guys have a place to push the snow on the coming.
Yeah, that's what they will.
Yeah. Taking
Not
all
just the whole thing, they were gonna.
Yeah.
What about Wade? Have you talked to him about 3/4?
nobody's got any rock right now.
Oh, shoot.
Okay, so is that
I
all?
thought
for
he said he
Tim?
had some.
Okay, thanks, Tim.
Yep.
We don't have
I'm
any
just
new
sorry.
business.
I'm sorry.
Into old business. Martin, did you do anything on this resolution? Did you look at? what
Yeah,
said?
I emailed it about a half hour ago. I didn't get a chance to look at it. Basically, it's pretty much the same except for some grammatical corrections to make it clear. And I was under the impression in our last meeting that the payments during or for the time when the meters weren't read is going to be historical average, and I see now it is just a flat 45.
You mentioned, which kind of got us thinking that we couldn't do an average if somebody moved in like, 2 weeks before we shut the water off for the winter, we wouldn't be able to average for them.
Yeah, all you say is it's the greater 45 a month, 40 hour. But, if you want to make it the 45, that's fine too.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at because the city's been at 43 or 84.
44.50.
44.50. So if we make it to 45, we'll be making the same as what we're making today during the winter months. So I think that's a fair thing to do. So people will still run their water, so they're not getting that average.
Okay, the only thing I'm saying is, apparently, the idea has changed. You do whatever you want. It's right now it says 46. It doesn't discuss an average like when we last discussed it.
Right.
But you do what you want.
Okay,
It's here.
45. Well, it's just, we need to, so we can start reading those meters, we need to do something. But I wanted to make sure this meets all the.
Yeah, the words I added in number one, I put base rate per calendar month of $45. And $2 per 1,000 gallons for any portion thereof. And, if you're happy with the 45, that's fine. And I just want to point out, you don't need all these whereases for a resolution. And you don't need it for an ordinance, really. either.
With some of this, basis of some of it came from Paige, so she wanted more in or less, so. It just seems like the 45 was more manageable as far as during the winter months.
It makes no difference to me. I exercise all the editorial license you like.
I'm just trying to get it right.
Sure, I know.
So We have to, but that's the only, just those two areas is what we need to add, change. So I would entertain a motion to pass this with the changes.
Read by title only.
Oh, yeah, well, let's read, no, I want the whole thing, read. Let me read it. This is City of Sumter Resolution number 40622, a resolution to update RV park water metering and rates. Whereas it is the responsibility of the City Council and the City of Sumter and Council to investigate and establish usage rates for privately owned recreational parks and RV parks based on the operational needs of the city's water system. And whereas the council has identified the need to install meters in RV parks when such meters become available. And whereas the operators of those RV parks will be billed for water usage based on the reading of the meters. And whereas the council needs to establish the usage rate for water subject to such metering. And whereas due to winter weather conditions, requesting RV parks in the city of Sumter to permit their faucets to drip during the winter months to avoid freezing pipes in the bed is in the best interest of the city. Reading of meters will not be conducted during winter months. Therefore, be it resolved, the following rates shall be established for RV parks using metered water provided by the city of Sumter. One base rate per calendar year of $45. Calendar month, sorry, can't read my writing. Calendar month of $45 for the first 4,500 gallons used and $2 per $1,000 gallons or any portion of water used thereafter.
Wait, portion thereof.
Portion thereof.
Mhm.
Okay. $2 per 1,000 gallons or any portion thereof, water use thereafter. 2, the city of Sumter requests water users allow their faucets to drift during winter months when there is the likelihood of cold weather causing water lines to freeze. 3, RV park water meters will not be read November 1 through March 31st of each year and will be charged the base rate of $45 each month during this period. They will sign this 25th day of May 2022.
Don't do that. Okay, like we were talking about last time, when spring rolls around, are you gonna start at that number and go forward, or are you gonna, see what I'm saying?
No.
Charge,
Yeah, I see what
You
you're
lag
saying.
on
Yeah.
that. You lag on
no, you stop reading in December and you go 3 months, 6 months, whatever,
Yeah, the 31st.
then you pick up at that, and you don't charge forward from that stopping point in November.
You see what he's saying?
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying, Linda?
yeah.
So you're saying drip your faucets, but you know, we only pay the base rate, and then you went over the base rate, which it shouldn't, but,
Yeah,
you know. When you start in the spring, you start
Well, the
whatever
thing-
that number is.
Well, the thing is, you're still using water during, even if you live here, you're still using water, so
Yeah.
your meter's gonna change. And you won't know what it is from November to the 31st or whatever. So the thing is if we just,
read the meter on.
we need to go read the meter on that, on the 1st or whatever that is. The 31st of March,
March.
Just like you do.
because that's when we're gonna start reading the meter from that point on. So basically,
But the number in November stops and the number in March doesn't matter.
Right.
You start up with the number in March and
Right,
go.
yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's, yeah.
So basically, your April bill will still be
Okay,
base rate.
so do I have a motion to pass resolution number 406-23?
Yeah, I'll move that.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Martha's aye.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. we have three of them here, there's two of them that are not on here. So we'll jump into those first. Timothy and Jerry Barker, single family dwelling. And,
Here, got a question.
oh, on Clifford Street. Are there any questions for him or any concern?
Former owner May and Jack Smith property.
I don't have any problem with it.
I entertain a motion to approve this application.
I move we approve.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Okay. You're good.
Thank you so much.
And then we have Jeff and Daisy Barber. They're called on Climax Street.
On that assessor's map or the small, the small cutout of it. The line on the easterly side of it go right through the house. Is that the city limits?
No, that actually, he ended up buying that from Simons, because that's the property line.
Okay,
And he ended up retaining that piece of property.
I just wondered if it was a different tax code.
To the right of it?
He bought that little slip.
Oh. Oh, the spoiler.
Well, that and also to push the house back, so it's not in that.
Oh.
Are there any other questions, or concerns about this one?
It's all set.
Should I push that water up?
That's it.
No.
We had that discussion before. Because he's going to come in off of that lower alley down below, where the fire hydrant used to be. And then the city's going to put it in, because we do not want somebody stuck along the way. So he's going to have to put it in the tank with an air gap, and then he's going to put it from there, that's it. But that's his area.
Yeah. Now I make a motion to approve Burgess.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Wilson. Park model application. So you guys all get your diagram and stuff?
Yes.
And how many square feet is this?
Did you get that square footage by the lot too? Not just the outside dimensions? Because on your one planning application, it comes out to under 500 square feet, the original application.
Got 41 by 12. I'm actually be off. 41 long by 12 wide. So that's
Does it have a slider on the one side?
one side.
Are you putting stairs or?
Came with a little walkway steps. Which also jets off the right side of the property all the way into the property. That's not across. Parking spots for the RV. That should,
comes in at 492 square feet.
You said Marshall's old property?
No, this is where, yeah.
Yeah, where Connor's building was.
What's on?
Commercial
It's in the
residential.
commercial residential, which has been, I guess, a little bit of an issue. Because, are you gonna be putting a business in there or?
It's gonna be an Airbnb. I did a little feasibility study on the property when I bought it, and two things I noticed, and I said something, is we have a housing shortage for rental properties, and we have a shortage for vacation properties. So I stayed up in the Lazy Moose a couple times, but the exact same floor plan as that one, other than it does have a slider on it. That's the kind of call use that it's been rented. So from a sustainability program, from a commercial piece of property, something that we can work through the winter and summer months would be an Airbnb. And I figured out that it's employing somebody year round. People up in the summer, so it's going to be at bars and restaurants, gas stations. And a lot of it.
So you're still gonna meet the setbacks when you put the decking and steps on?
Yes, ma'am.
Question back here.
I do have a question. Only because the mobile home shall contain at least 500 square feet of space. And if the measurement only meets 492, that's a question. If the gentleman has an interest in putting a commercial building on the front of the lot, does that cause it to still be commercial and not have to use the 40% usage?
Let me back up there again for your sake. When we did the excavation, clean that lot up, I think you came out to it and said, we didn't want us to remove those trees. And once the building went down, all those roots of those trees were exposed. They went way into that lot to the point where we any kind of building up the front lot, we have to cut those roots out, which will kill those trees. And we've got the situation with your sewer line running right through the property. So that means, so the certain sewer line, certain the trees that came up with this design, where we would backfill around the roots and maintain roots this area, we'll figure out the sewer.
So you do plan to put a business in the front of the lot?
So I found having two lots there for the markets and use that parking for my ATV and some of the trailers for rentals.
Well, she brought up a point that I've marked down. I've been poring over these. We have zoning ordinances that need to be updated, but we have to go by what we have here now. And it goes to section 10 on the conditional use, which means you need to come in and file the papers for a public hearing for conditional use.
Why would I need a conditional use permit on a commercial piece of property?
It's a commercial residential piece of property because it goes back to the mobile home. I go to section. Yeah. Yeah.
Because the square footage you're working on is the way the building sits today. It's not with the pop out on it, and it is not considered, you didn't consider the lot, that is all livable space. So therefore your square footage goes up.
No, it goes by, according to our ordinance, it goes by the outside dimension and length. And it has to be 500 square feet. That moves it in to the same as an RV park because it is a mobile, it's on wheels. And then that's the same deal we're having where you have to get a conditional use for the camp trailers, RV parks on residential zone. You have to come and get a conditional use and it can only be used.
But if this has a pop
Temporary.
out, but if this has a pop out on it, that's added to the outside
No,
footprint.
no.
What about when you have a two-story home, they take the square footage?
According to our ordinance,
One floor.
it's only the way our ordinance stands right now. And that's what we have to go by. It is the outside dimensions, the width and the length, and if it's under 500 square feet, then,
That's any building.
pardon?
That's any building. This building.
Yeah.
That's how it goes, because it's on wheels, so we have to class it as a mobile home too. So then we go to,
Yeah, because you're not gonna put a foundation under it.
I wasn't planning on, it. Right now, the highest and best usage is what it is now with that interchange. I can
Well-
just Hook it up and move it out there and do something there with it. But right now-
Well, if it gets passed, it has to be treated as a mobile home and it has to have skirting all the way
All the
around
skirting's up
it
there.
and all of that. But it's still under the 500 and it has to have a conditional use with the public hearing.
Then you say count well, slide out.
Mark,
too.
which part was the 500 square feet?
500,
If you count the slide out, what's that?
no, I have them all tagged. I'm looking.
It's in section.
4.8.
4.400, section 7. That's in paragraph 7.
And that's just conditional use. That's just one of the conditions of a conditional use. It has to go in the CR zone, has to go to a public hearing for the abutting neighbors.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's.
I'm just going by the ordinance.
The question for me is, are you registering with the Airbnb people?
I'm gonna have it all done through the Airbnb folks on it.
Under the-
So
under the-
is he, that way he's running it as a business?
Well, I know, that in order.
Yes,
There was
I
a lemonade
realize
stand
that, but
there.
it's, you still have to go back to the fact that it needs a conditional use, which means a public hearing according to our ordinance. It's still under 500 square feet and it's still mobile. So because it's Airbnb, the tiny homes isn't anything that we're actually not addressing, we gotta go by
If you
what
look
we
in
got.
my package I gave you, there is the raising loose in there, it's the exact same.
It's not.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
That's residential. You're in a commercial
Yeah.
residential.
In 1987, they redid the ordinance and they didn't drop the residential. That's the problem that we have here. So, just so you know, that's the magic number is 1987.
But I thought because according to the ordinance though, because it's a commercial use, it's an outright
It's
use.
not right use.
That's the way I read it.
I believe that line.
It still has to meet the dimensional standards.
But then if it's an outright use, it still has to meet the mobile home standards.
Still has to go to.
Well, yeah,
the
you still
mobile
have
home.
to have the skirting and all that.
But it's also under 500 square feet.
Recreational is 500 square, mobile homes are 500 square.
See, that's the problem. It goes back to
So
that.
if I put a porch on it, is that gonna leak that square footage?
No, it's just the,
It reads,
like, the width.
it reads, the mobile home shall contain at least 500 square feet of space as determined by the measurements of the exterior dimensions of the unit, exclusive of any trailer hitch device. Space within a mobile home accessory structure shall not be included.
So now that takes us to the mobile home section where he has to follow all of the mobile homes if it's approved.
Lots for mobile homes. Problem with our ordinance is that it goes onto a different page continually.
They're okay, number one. I mean, they-
Well, yeah.
they Came up unit, so
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the Airbnbs, if it's something that's done online. And we didn't really mess this stuff back 40, 50 years ago.
Right, who knew that we were gonna have this kind of stuff?
Were you informed of the applicable ordinances when you made this application?
When I came in here, the reason I wasn't at your last meeting, because what I was told was that you guys want to check the setbacks. So if I take the trailer, and I measure the setbacks, I put those on a sheet of paper, then you have to come to the meeting. When I went and listened to the meeting online, I was flabbergasted that there was that much stuff that was going on. Charlie, what do you know?
Well, I was in the office when you came originally and said you had to move that off the lot.
Right,
You had 2 pieces of property, you were gonna move it on, and it wasn't gonna stay there. You didn't know which place you were gonna do
That's
it. It was
correct.
only temporary. And then all of a sudden now
once
it's
I did the
full
site
time.
cleanup, I saw the issues that we were dealing with there. And I got 5 kids and 16 grandkids that live my lot up here across from the park. So I didn't really want to put that up there because we wouldn't use it up there. I thought the complaint was if they were living in the units over here, like some of the folks are saying that they're commercial and they're not, they're living in the units. Well, that wasn't like, I'm coming in the front door, here's what I plan on doing, that plans on being a commercial unit. I plan on renting it out, I don't plan on living in the unit. I mean, I got $5,000 just cleaning up that lot, and $1,000 to move the trailer down the lot, because I was under the impression I was put in a position where I thought we were all good to go. Now we got these issues.
Well, that's not what you mentioned when you came in though, so.
I've been in here several times. You were here
Yeah,
once.
the first time, yeah, that you
At
didn't.
that time, I didn't know what I was gonna do because I didn't know what I was gonna attack when I took this stuff down.
Well, a commercial residential, according to our ordinance, you can have a commercial building in the front. And as long as your livable quarters is not visible from the commercial, you can live in the same building. But it can be, but it can't. be
But according to
visible.
Martin in your last meeting, his complaint was there's 8 or so other people out here that are saying they're doing that and they're not. And I don't want to be lumped into that group because I don't know how to live in the place.
And that's a fact.
Right, so I don't want to get a sour taste here because that's not my goal, that's not what I was intending on doing, I didn't tell them being Airbnb from day one. Just matter whether I was gonna build something or bring something in the house, when I bought that lot, I didn't have the house yet.
So I guess my question would be is, can he just give conditional use? And still do the commercial window?
Why wouldn't he be able to, it's commercial zone?
He's like a one-room hotel, and he
So-
has adequate parking in the front. The only problem is the dimensional standard.
And the bump out doesn't count as part of the dimensional?
That's how it
Looking
is.
at it?
Yeah.
No, it's just.
It says, yeah. Space, yeah.
The bottom won't count. Well,
I mean, you know, it's not us, we have to go by all of
Specifically
this.
says that, yeah, it has to just be the dimensions. The exterior dimensions.
But the thing is, though, the only thing on the exterior dimensions would be, it lumps him into a conditional use.
Yes,
That's all that.
Because he's got 500 square feet.
and the conditional use lumps him into a public hearing of the neighbors. It's just part of this.
The neighbors is Wade who's doing the work. Jennifer, who's sitting right here, and then the laundromat that's been vacant for how many years?
And Greg and Dudley.
Well, it's within 250 feet, I believe. I think I read that the conditional use is within 250 feet. So they would have to be sent a letter and have it, and the public can also attend to that one. I'm not trying to be nasty, I'm just trying to understand our ordinances and go through what we have here in the ordinance so that we start complying with the ordinances.
But if it's put on a foundation, it's fine.
That takes it out of him being on wheels,
It's not a mobile.
and it's off the blocks.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
So it's like, so let's review that. Where's that go, Marcia, if you take the wheels out from under it?
Who built that? Is that a Rich's?
I just bought it up here off the.
There's no tag on it, says Rich's Portable Cabins, and that's Sky North Powder. If it qualifies as a manufactured home, once you take the wheels off, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Tiny home would.
I think that's what that would come under, Tom, because it's not illegal to tow down the highway. It's too tall.
If you go to the assessor and have him detitle it, he has a title, right? If you have him detitle it, then it becomes one with the real property for purposes of taxation. And perhaps that's a way to do it. Now, whether you have to put a foundation under it, I really don't know. I guess I look at this like maybe you might have jumped the gun, but on the other hand, you apparently weren't told what you might need, what you might be facing when you came in here. And that makes us all look bad. So you can detitle it, I'm sure.
I can put it on a foundation. Question is in commercial real estate, it's always highest and best use, and right now, that's not.
No, it's not the highest and best use. I mean,
In my feasibility study, the highest and best use is where you go to determine what it's gonna be zoned and what you're gonna do with the property.
Well-
I'm a commercial, I'm a real estate broker, been there for 30 years.
okay, but the zoning in this town is there. So whatever you put in there, if you wanna put in a rubber duck factory, that's fine, or an Airbnb, as long as it's commercial. And it may not be the highest and best use, but it's there, and if it's commercial, it's gonna be allowed if it meets the standards. And
So what's it gonna take to detitle it? Do I need to fix it to a foundation?
You, as I recall, and I haven't looked at this for a while, but the assessor, you fill out a form. And basically the form says, the title of the property is in the name of ABC. The title to the manufactured structure has to be identical. ABC owns it. And then there's a form you fill out, and all real property taxes must be paid current, as well as the tax on the manufactured structure. Once that is done, he can detitle it, and it becomes de facto a part of the dirt.
Then you can work on that.
And there's nothing wrong with the conditional, the public hearing for the conditional use. This community is actually a lot more forgiving and open to ideas than maybe you might think.
Well, my feeling was I would have liked to gotten this all buttoned up and done before Memorial Day weekend. Everybody can
Right.
travel through here. So we're off a month, we're off another month. I mean, it's not gonna kill me either way. I just want to clean it up and get it looking better as quick as I can.
Unfortunately, that happens here a lot. So, I guess it's up to you if you want to do that, but it seems to me if it becomes part of the dirt, then he should be allowed to have it as an Airbnb or a commercial.
As an outright.
Not what I use.
Right.
Right, yeah.
But my, once that's done, and you'll have to check with the assessor, you can call him tomorrow, his number's 523-8203.
I'll
Okay,
get that from you after.
beg your pardon?
I'll get that from you. I don't have my opinion on it.
Okay, anyway. I know we're redoing the ordinances. And, hopefully a lot of these embarrassing situations will pass by. However,
It doesn't help me right now.
what?
I said, it don't help me right now.
Well, I know it doesn't, but I want to say, with regard to these people in the past who have obtained permits to do things and have constructed things that they say are commercial and then they immediately forget about it. I want to have some kind of enforcement mechanism in there so that after, you have two people stay there for a week, it turns into your mother-in-law's residence or something.
That's,
And we need to stop that in this town because it's been abused. And I won't mention names right now. So are we, go ahead.
Do we have a public hearing or not on it then?
If he qualifies,
Yeah,
if it's a structure,
okay, yeah. The only thing is, Ken, I'm all for business and I don't care whose it is. But like Mark was saying, 2 years from now, when you sell it, somebody moves in there and that's their house. It would have to be removed or sold as commercial.
what?
I don't have a problem with the deed restriction. Or if I sell it, it's gonna be used as a commercial.
Well, because the zoning can change and then the deed restriction will take precedence over the zoning. I wouldn't do that if it was me. If you qualify, you qualify. And as long as you disclose it. Now, if you sell it to me in 2 years and I want to move my family in there, and you don't tell me, hey, it's got to be something commercial, then I'm going to sue you for misrepresenting it to me. Okay? So, that's between you and your buyer. And I'm like John, I'm all for commerce. But I really think we need to straighten this out and prevent this abuse, which has been rampant. And here's your phone number. I have poor handwriting or a very unique font. Whatever you look at.
8203.
Either one, it probably looks like chicken.
So can we approve it based upon this getting done?
I
Well,
think you have to get it done. and then-
I think you have to get it done, but I think we can give you a consensus. Yes, we can. We're up here, we get to do what we want, if you don't like it, take us to Luba. If he does this and it qualifies all as dirt, do we see a problem?
And put foundation on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if it becomes, I mean,
I don't have a problem.
I don't have a problem if it's a true business, because that's what,
But at the same token though, can it go back to where he comes in and pays his $200 and some for conditional use?
Conditional use goes to public hearing.
So basically, you'd have to have a public hearing plus $200 or whatever it
Within
is a year.
250 feet
Sure.
of the neighbors, yeah, or the public can come.
And my last comment is Martin has a problem with not having some way to control what happens to the property. The control is now. If the gentleman makes the change and then comes back for permission, if you give him permission and he doesn't make the change, he gets out of the court.
Then you have the same problem
Yeah.
as Martin was saying.
We had the same problem, but what do you wanna make him do? You wanna make him fill out a report every month or give us access to his transient tax that he's gonna have to pay? To the city of Baker, I think it's the Chamber of Comedy that administers it now.
Well, can you put a note in the file to where when it comes in for a title search, if he sells it? that would
Well,
just
then
be
you've gotta put something on the title.
If it's a conditional use though, that could be a condition, can it?
Yes.
It can, but
It has to be sold for commercial or, if you do sell, it can't be somebody's house.
that's true, but if it's a conditional use in that zone, and I don't have the ordinance right in front of me, but don't you have to renew that every year?
Yes.
Okay, so you're talking about a conditional use every year.
I'm not talking. I'm more for.
Yeah, I know, we're just trying to figure out a way,
I'm not
a
opposed
mechanism.
to, in Idaho, you put the home on a foundation, that gets it to
Okay,
So I'm assuming it's here the same thing, once you fix the property to the ground, it becomes real property.
it does, but that means it's in this zone. If it's real property, if you built a 10,000 square foot house on that, you can't use it as a residence. It's gotta be commercial. The residence can be incidental. And I guess, are you willing to say that, okay, at least 80% of the occupancy will be by renters?
By all means.
Is that good
I
enough?
got a place up here already that I enjoy, that my family enjoys. If I stayed up here.
I mean, Mark, what do you think if he makes the changes and makes it?
It still falls under the conditional use and it needs to have a hearing. But we don't have anything in the ordinance that says that I could find whether it's a one-time or a yearly conditional use.
Well, if I remember right,
It's
Is
yearly.
it
It's yearly, Marcia.
Marcia, if I remember right, but
Okay,
just a minute, Don. If I remember right, I talked to John Young and him and I went through this one night before. And it is yearly, but we can change that. We were in the process of changing that. And the reason we were gonna change it was because on property tax, we pay that every year, but on a conditional use, that's a yearly deal plus a property tax, that's a little over. And John and the rest of the people we were talking to didn't agree with that.
Well, I know, but we gotta go by what we have
Well,
currently,
yeah.
unfortunately.
If I remember, I thought it was changing there, Marcus.
No, that hasn't.
Hasn't been.
okay.
You got a comment in the back.
Yeah, I'm Jennifer, by the way. That's Rebecca.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I've not had a chance.
I see you roll in.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, my property is adjacent to his property.
Right.
Two problems that I have, and I was actually gonna talk on the first one, is I'm one of those linear people. I don't like it, because I hate it. It doesn't bother me, but it bothers me that it's a commercial zone Most buildings, most cities, you don't see things on an angle, okay? Secondly, I'm thrilled that he is filing with Airbnb, because one of the most famous things in this community, I've lived here for 7 years, a lot of pot smoking party all night long, outdoor fire pits, they're drunk. That place has to be controlled. I'm sorry, and I also think a public hearing needs to be done. Greg and Debbie are not here. Wade's comments, he works for you, whatever. But I just think it's a ridiculous use of that piece of property, is my personal opinion.
The personal opinion about the use of the property has nothing to do with it.
Correct, but I have the legal right to.
I think you have to do it every year, but I don't think you have to have a hearing, just repay.
Repay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dave, the reason we do conditional use is because he's getting to use the property, not you, but whoever, is getting to use the property for something it's not really zoned for. So if that's on top of the taxes.
Well, I'm just
The
saying,
hearing's just once.
Yeah, one time, yeah.
one time, yeah.
And then, it's voided after every year, and it says here every year it has to go.
And by going to the conditional use, you could set down the standards that you have already talked about. It's in the minutes, it's on the paper, and it's something to refer back to, and that's how you can control the future of the house.
So it looks like
Being on
Big Ten
commercial.
has two options, two avenues. One of them is to see what it can do to get it, as Martin says, to get it locked in. That's one. Because
The
then
locking
more
in means no conditional use permit and no.
Right.
So I guess you gotta pay for a
It's
foundation.
gonna be down, so therefore you're gonna pay for the foundation. If it goes the other way, to where if you can't do that, it goes the other way, you get a conditional use, it goes to the public hearing. However, then you don't have to put it on the foundation. And if you decide to sell the property, you can pull the house out.
Kind of like currently talking about for conditional use permit.
If it's good for a year.
How long does it take to get all that? Public hearing.
Now, the public hearing part.
15.
Isn't it
3 months,
months?
2 months?
About 2 months.
Yeah.
I think it says.
Well, I didn't have to ask the records for it.
And I guess what we need to apologize, but you moved the house before, you put the cart before the horse. Yeah.
I came right in here
Yeah.
specifically and talked to your girl and said, I don't wanna move the house to that lot before this meeting if it's gonna cause a problem. Her exact words to me was, and tell me if I'm wrong, it's not gonna be a problem. And to be honest with you, I thought they were gonna move the house, they were still being, I didn't realize they were gonna set it on blocks and all that stuff, so. That cost me money to do that too, so I went on what I thought was the right direction, I'm not trying to make anybody upset here.
Well, no,
I bought 3 or 4 properties in town already, I've got a rental property out here, there's a need for rental properties. I got my property, I developed a property that we sold out here, and I got still commercial, so I'm here the long haul. So I don't wanna get on anybody's wrong side, I think I'm trying to put the cart before the horse, that was never the intention, as a matter of fact, I went out of the way to make sure that wasn't. Apparently
Yeah,
that
it's
was
just, well, it, unfortunately wound up, being X, then you decided to set it on that. And I don't think it's there, we have to deal with this, but I don't think it's something you could have done in a big town. Just moved it on and then went through.
But this ain't a
system.
big town.
I know, but we got, we have these, we have.
Well,
We're trying.
We do, and so tell me what your problem is, if he puts it on a foundation and it gets an Airbnb, what the problem is with it.
I don't have a problem with that part, but if it doesn't set up, then I want.
You have a problem with that part, Charlie?
But I
You live there? Neither do I.
As long as there's-
So therefore, then can we do like Martin says, and pass this on that contingency?
No, I don't think we can pass it in advance. I just was looking for a consensus and I just got it. That's the best we can do for you right now.
Okay, so call the assessor, see what I need to do to make it real property. And then, once that's done,
See if you can, if you do it that way, put the foundation under it, sign up with Airbnb.
So that comes back to the question for me is, does Ken get to go ahead and go to this assessor and they said, well, we're not gonna do it until it sits on a foundation. He goes through the money, he puts it on the foundation, we're good. Is that correct? That's what I'm understanding.
That's my understanding, but you gotta see what the assessor says.
Well, I hate to see him go out and put it on the foundation and come back, but, oh, now.
I've got to spend money if I move, I might need something.
I remember a great story that was told to me once, and this was a great dispute that occurred in the Catholic Church in the 13th century. And the question was, do horses have teeth in the back? And they debated over it until someone finally said, stick your finger back there. So call the assessor and find out.
Yeah. And, well, I guess let us know what you're finding out too.
So when I find out, if it's another, see you in a couple weeks for another meeting.
We need to know if you're,
The city can also call a special
yeah,
session.
we have special sessions.
Yeah,
So.
are we on 1 month meetings now?
No, we're.
No,
still-
2 a month.
No, we're two. So you need to get your information together, what you can actually do, you can actually get this done.
Okay.
And then, not this week, hopefully, maybe next week, you can, when you get the information, let Renee know you have it, and then we can get a special session and meet on this. And maybe, make sure we have all the right conversation going on.
Before I put the foundation.
Yes, yes. Yeah,
Well,
before
yeah, it
you,
would be good to put.
before you do anything, bring all the information, so, you know, we can decide if this, you know, make sure this is the way to go for you.
Thank you.
Okay. It's just,
Yeah, we don't want to see that happen no more.
So this one's paid going.
well, yeah, this is basic information until we.
That's all we can do.
Until we get further stuff, but just let us know right away, then we'll try to accommodate you.
Yeah, because if you find out and say, yeah, the assessor's office will put a foundation under it, we're golden. Then,
I'm not sure you can ask for the foundation at least as long as it's time off of it. So.
Well, that's-
well, and the thing is, though, is I think we've got it from, I think it has to go on a foundation.
Yeah.
Because of the
Why don't we call the assessor tomorrow and find out, or you can call,
Yeah, just, you find out.
and you can
information.
report to any one of us.
Yeah, so just get that done, and so we'll table this until we get back to you. Where are we, sorry? Okay, so we tabled that, we're now under public comment.
What?
Sorry,
John's usually the one who wants to talk.
you're up and
I
running.
could tell you a story.
No. You're up and running.
There's a guy from Salem.
No, I don't want your story.
No, this is how I feel right now.
Okay.
There's a guy from Salem and his mother died. There's a big storm, knocked all this pecan, I think it's pecans or something tree, maybe filberts.
Yeah.
And he had a book to write in a month. He buried his mother, he stood the trees back up, got them replanted, and he wrote the book. It was General Ben. It was Walt Morey. That's how I feel right now. Anyway,
But you're up and going.
yeah,
Okay,
we don't have ice cream, but it's coming.
okay, yes, ma'am.
But you got water?
Come on. Up. Yeah.
At the council meeting on April 26, 2022, Councilmember Leuenberger commented on doing things the Sumter way. And he didn't sound to me like he approved. Maybe he has heard, like I have, of the 1970s way of council meetings being adjourned and then some council members going to the bar and continuing business discussions without the public in attendance. Now it's better though, right? The public can witness meetings online from the safety and comfort of their homes. Maybe he was referring to people who welcome newcomers with warnings about people to avoid or who can't be trusted, or milder warnings of avoiding Sumter politics. I like to think of the people who offer newcomers their help. Oh, your printer isn't set up yet? Let me print those flyers for you. Maybe that's the real Sumter way, and he's just not seeing it. It reaches back through the decades, if not all the way back to Sumter's founding. During my childhood, every second Saturday from September to May, there was a potluck or card party or other community gathering. Before 1969, every time the wooden water main would pop a plug, men of the community would go out and get to work on repairs. They could count on another potluck having sprung up to feed them when they got back. The largest card party ever was on a night when the power was out. Troubles bring people together. History brings people together. Economics bring people together. People being together opens up opportunities for having lofty goals. The Sumter Volunteer Fire Department was founded long ago. Sumter Valley Railroad restoration began in 1970. Sumter Valley Dredge State Heritage Area opened in 1994. And every one of these accomplishments started with people, specifically people volunteering their time and energies, working together. Volunteers have been the backbone of this community. Sumter has tourist draws because of volunteers. We have a playground because of volunteers. The community center has new windows, a new furnace, a kitchen because of volunteers. The Sumter Valley Days grounds had $20,000 of underground power, a $100,000 building, and a $10,000 checking account that were all given to the city because of volunteers. There are people who can't understand why anyone would do anything without expectation of monetary increase, public praise, or power. But in my experience, the huge majority of volunteers do operate without those expectations. As Helen Keller said, I am only one, but I am still one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. I will not refuse to do the something I can do. When a bunch of people together decide they will do what they can for their community, wow, that to me is the best Sumter way of all.
Thank you, Liam. Anybody else comments? Any comments from you guys?
Linda,
Yeah.
I got one. Again, oh geez. All right,
You gotta be on TV.
I gotta be on TV.
Yep.
Jeez. One thing that got mentioned to me today was the water situation, and I brought it up to everybody before the council meeting today. And the gentleman was asking about it, is this gentleman right here. And he was wondering, because he's, in the past years, he's always filled up here the water. And now he can't get water in his tank for his camper. And so he was asking tonight that something be said, so I just wanted to point out to everybody again that I think it's gonna be a problem in the future because we're starting to create a problem here because our people are coming in and pretty quickly gonna start driving everybody out. And I'm concerned for the community for that reason. I don't want to see Sumter, well, the flea market go down the hill. And I think you all agree. Am I right?
Good.
No?
Martin wants the flea market to go.
The flea market's on its way back.
Well,
Not guaranteed that.
I'm hoping you're right, John. And I do have concern that people like yourself that are making businesses here in town that expect campers to come in, have you got water to supply them?
We're pack it in, pack it out. We
Yeah.
tell people to bring their own water.
This is, I forgot your name. Don.
No, yes, we took the lock on it because everybody coming up with campers were pulling out a lot of water out of us.
Right.
And not paying, we all pay for water.
Right.
So that's why it was locked because, well, like this weekend, we
Well,
rushed the lineup, and we're paying for it, so.
I agree, but at the same time, are we gonna be able to continue to do this for people like we've done in the past?
Well,
I mean-
water shortage, we can't.
Yes.
We're
Yeah,
just-
we're in a
just-
water shortage right now.
yeah,
We can't do it.
It's cut.
The lot happened up at the city park when the city went into stage 3 water conservation.
Yeah.
There was no outside water into anybody.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, at our park, we say, please bring the water with
Yeah.
you, because we can't guarantee there will be water with you.
Okay, that was something I wasn't aware of, no.
Yeah.
But if they show up, there's water with them, if they don't have it.
Not necessarily, not if it's level 3
If
conservation.
they show
Yeah,
up
if
Saturday.
There may not be, well, this, right now, I think we're
Right
doing okay
now,
on water,
we
are
should be
we?
all right.
The tanks, are they keeping up?
Yeah.
Yeah, and,
I think right now.
July,
we should be
Tracy?
all right.
Oh, I get that.
you know,
So,
But
But
then
I agree with you guys, yeah, water shortage, we're gonna have trouble getting
But
water.
yeah, but no, we put the locks on because it was getting pretty abusive and
Okay.
it's, you know, we put a lot of water in and, you know, they'll pay for it. So,
Well, I knew that because I was on planning that we had, people that were here in town or outside of town that was out there coming in to get water. And they come in and get 500 gallon at a time.
I mean,
Well, it's treated water, so we're paying for everything
Right,
that comes
Yeah,
out.
so-
everything get treated up
so
here.
it's just something we just couldn't afford to continue to do, so.
Okay.
that's all.
I got a question.
Yes.
Are you done? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm done,
Okay.
Martin.
What happened to the 3-minute rule in public comment? Because Gestapo used to tell us to shut up.
Well, I was.
Well, tell
I
them
was
to shut up and sit
I
down,
said,
Martin.
please don't compare me, thank you.
I still got-
Don't compare me.
I still got one more minute.
Oh, please.
Renee, how about in the water bills, I think you can afford this. Why don't we put some water saving measures like, don't run full blast to brush your teeth? Just stuff like that to start conserving the water that we have. So in 2 months from now, we're conserving water. You know what I mean? Just whatever little I'll email you some stuff.
Is there anything you
That,
can put in?
Their approval, not
It would
mine.
help to let the people know we're gonna be low on water.
Send us something and we'll. do it.
And I can't remember who I talked to. I can't remember who.
Sarah was
You're
a
three-
friend.
Who was that? You're 3 years out on the well.
Yes, sir.
If you got it right now, you're 3 years
Oh,
out.
I know that, I talked
Okay.
to somebody.
I can't remember what the
Yeah, I
deal
talked
was
to
anyway.
them. Okay,
I'm moving adjourned.
Second.
oh, he had his hand up.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to, just add something to that water, because I brought the question up. I come up here for years, and I got like a 30-gallon tank. And no matter if I get my water up at the park, or that I go down to his place or somebody else or out to the other park and fill that 30-gallon barrel up, that's not saving you any water. It's still coming out of your tank up there, whether it comes up to the park or over to your house.
He's on a meter, so he knows how much water he knows what water you're taking.
Huh?
If he goes to your place and fills up his tank,
Yeah.
you're gonna know because it's gonna be running on your meter.
Well, so what? I mean, if he's willing
I
to
don't
let me
have
come
a
over
meter.
there
We don't do
and
it for free.
charge you a dollar or whatever it
Yeah,
is,
they don't do
it's
it, I don't think they do it for
still
free.
coming out of your tank up there. You're not saving any water because you got
But
the shortage.
I think that is the point for the city. If you go to one of the private entities and pay for that, that we're being metered and the city's getting some
City's
money
getting your
back.
money for the water. Yeah, we're,
I'm not saying it. So you don't know how much is going through this?
No, they don't have a meter on that faucet.
Yeah, they don't have meter on there, Don.
we don't have, there's nobody standing there charging you for.
A lot, it's not just one or two, we get a lot of people that come up here, and it's like, well.
Yeah,
one
when
of the
you get
major things that we
30,000
have-
people in
Hey,
town.
Maybe I'll put something on your internet thing and everything when it says, please come up and see something we have a deal, but,
Make sure you fill up water before you come up here.
Yeah.
anyway, that's all.
Okay. Okay, Martin had a motion.
Yeah, I renew it.
Second.
He's ready to go
All
home.
in favor, aye. Thank you, everybody.
Did you
All right.
website that I sent you on